Welcome to ghPhoto from GetHappy LLC. Upon launching the app, you'll be presented with the camera preview screen. On initial launch, you'll be prompted to share location information, which will be used for geotagging photos. You will also be asked for permission to use your iPhone's camera. Later, if you choose to save photos to your phone's photo library, you'll be asked for access to this as well. Let's review the controls available to you, the photographer, beginning with the image format selection. Here you can choose between HEIC and two variations of the RAW format, selectable in Settings. Next is the megapixel selection. You can choose between 12 and 48. 48 megapixels may not be available in all configurations. This is followed by the spot metering control for setting the photo's exposure based on a specific point in the preview. And finally, the portrait mode selector. This setting will use more than one of your camera lenses to produce depth information, which can be manipulated in editing. Tapping the chevron reveals additional controls. First is the histogram, which is on by default. It can be toggled off here, and its appearance can be modified in settings. By tapping and dragging, the histogram view can be moved to any position on the screen. This is followed by the zebra toggle, for easily visualizing overexposed portions of the image. The focus control follows, with the option of viewing focus peaking or a loupe to zero in on precise focus. We'll look at these again when discussing manual focus. Finally, there are toggles for displaying the composition grid and the level. The appearance of both of these is adjustable in settings. The second row contains additional camera controls. First is a timer which cycles between off, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, and 10 seconds. This is followed by a burst mode toggle which cycles through a number of shots per burst. Finally, there's an exposure bracket toggle which allows for bracketed images with 1 or 2 exposure stop differences. While any of these three controls are in use, the chevron turns gold as an indicator, even if these controls are not visible. Tap the chevron to hide these additional controls. Now let's take a look at the settings section of this app. You can choose to save your photos to the standard iPhone Photos library or to a library specific to this application. The type of RAW image can be set to Apple ProRAW or to Bare RAW, an unprocessed RAW format. When Bare RAW is selected, 12 megapixels will be the maximum photo resolution. The display format of the histogram can be selected here. Also, the exposure percentage at which zebras apply and their displayed color are selectable. Focus peaking color is selectable as well. There are options available here for selecting the desired type of composition grid and level indicator. Finally, there's an option to turn off the compact display of the manual adjustment controls in the camera preview. The larger size can be easier to manipulate, but will cover more of the camera preview image. Now, let's take a look at this app's photo library, which can be accessed by tapping the thumbnail of the last photo in the lower left. You'll notice that the library is arranged by date. A row of additive filters near the top can help you quickly define the set of images displayed in your library. Tapping the Select button at the top exposes actions that can be applied to several images at once. Photos can be shared, favorited, added to an album, exported to the Photos library, exported to the Files app, or deleted. Here, we'll select a few photos and add them to a new album. Tapping an individual photo brings up the detailed view. A traditional iOS share sheet is available here. Tapping the three-dot menu reveals an array of actions, including copying any edits that have been applied to this image so that they can be pasted into other images, speeding up editing time. Tapping the Edit button brings up the Edit panel with a wide variety of tools, including a selection of pre-built filters to use as starting points. There is also an Auto Enhance tool. Tapping the eye icon or tapping and holding directly on the image allows you to quickly view edits versus the original image. Tapping the chevron will collapse the editing controls for a more complete view of the image. Let's return to the camera preview and look at some additional controls. You'll find a flash control for off, auto, and on. There's an aspect ratio control where you can cycle through various options. To the right of the shutter control, there's a toggle for back and front camera selection. If supported by your device, a macro mode button will be available. And finally, the lens selection button. It should be noted that this app only supports direct lens selection, providing the best analog image capture. There is no pinch to zoom available, since this introduces digital artifacts into a photo, and this was not the intention of this app. Now let's look at the manual camera controls available to you, the photographer. First up is ISO. Tap the Auto button to switch into manual mode, then use the slider to adjust. Next up is shutter speed. Again, tap the Auto button to enter manual mode, then select from the various options for best exposure. Manual focus allows us to use the peaking and loupe visuals discussed earlier to hone the perfect focus. Finally, white balance controls allow you to set the perfect tone for your photos. When this control center is closed, the letter M indicates that you are shooting using manually configured parameters. Tap this M to return to auto mode, now displayed with a gold dot indicating that manual adjustments have been made. Tapping repeatedly allows you to choose between your manual adjustments and the auto mode of the device. This concludes the overview of ghPhoto. Happy shooting!